We now want to call upon Patrick Gadara, who's Curator-in-Chief, The Elephant. A question around the standard gauge railway, which has seen some contention around the same. Please take the mic for your question.
Thank you. I think it's fair to say that you are one of the most ardent supporters of the SGR.
That's right.
And in fact, you told in 2018, you told your current head of communications that the SGR was not a matatu.
So please, I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. You said the SGR was not a matatu. You said it would pay for itself starting 2020. One of your economic advisors, David D, has written that the SGR will never pay for itself, and that the debt we took for it is going to be paid from the public purse. And I think your manifesto also cites the SGR as an example of large public infrastructure projects that have very little multiplier effect in the economy. So my question is, do you now acknowledge that the SGR, building the SGR was a mistake? And if you're elected, will you leave it as it is, terminating in Naivasha, or will you extend it to Uganda? And if you're going to do that, how much will it cost and how will you pay for it?
Thank you very much. As you have said correctly, I was and I am an ardent supporter of the SGR. I believe that it's time as a country that we scaled up our infrastructure. And one of them was SGR. Let me tell you that the SGR was not merely the infrastructure. It came as a package. We were supposed to do the Dongokundu project, which was a special economic zone. We were supposed to do in Naivasha an industrial city, so that the SGR would not only bring in raw materials where we need raw materials, but it will also take out what we are producing in Kenya. In Naivasha, our target was, and it didn't end up in Naivasha for no reason. It ended up in Naivasha for a specific reason. We wanted to tap into the geothermal resources in Naivasha, where we would get energy at 5 US cents. We would get free steam from the geothermal facility there. And that would help us in two significant areas. And those are the areas, if you look at our manifesto, we have targeted. We have said the leather industry is going to be a big player in our economy, and the textile industry is also going to be a very big player in our economy. Those were the two sectors that we were supposed to target. Unfortunately, what happened to the SGR is that it became a captive of conflict of interest. People started to look at how they will make money from the railway, from operating CFSs, and small things. In the process, the SGR became a big project that required money to be paid. So what we will do, we will leverage on our plan on the special economic zone in Dongokundu. I know for sure that there are investors who are ready to deploy their own money to build the special economic zone in Dongokundu. The only problem is conflict of interest. There are people who are forcing these companies to partner with them so that they can get that contract. Eliminating the conflict of interest, and that goes into why in our manifesto we have said we must deal with conflict of interest and we must also deal with state capture. That is what is taking our country backwards. So to just answer directly your question, SGR, our intention was not to move SGR beyond Naivasha. We had an intention of taking it to Naivasha. Beyond Naivasha, it will depend on viability and on partnerships with other countries. Up to Naivasha, that facility can pay for itself. Let me give you the statistics as of now. If we moved the SGR to 18 cargo planes, cargo trucks every day, it would pay for itself. Unfortunately, we are stuck at around 9, or sometimes 12. We have to find the mechanism to ensure that we roll out the plan as it was, so that we can make sure that that SGR is viable the way it was intended.
Naibu Rais, kuna jambo ningependa ufafanue kwa sababu unapozungumza kuhusu miundombinu, infrastructure na kadhalika. Kuna mwaka 2018 wakati kulikuwa na kongamano la uchumi katika kaunti ya Nakuru, ulisema kwamba serikali ya Jubilee ingeanzisha kituo katika kaunti ya Nakuru, hususan eneo la Naivasha. Lakini katika mikutano eneo la Pwani umeshutumu handshake kwa kusema wao ndio wamehamisha kituo hiki na kukileta katika eneo la Naivasha, na hivyo kuathiri wafanyabiashara, wabeba mizigo na kuathiri uchumi wa Pwani. Haswa ni kwamba unawahadaa wa Kenya au haswa mbona useme kitu kimoja kisha baadaye ulaumu wengine kwa kitu ambacho wewe mwenyewe ulinukuliwa ukisema?
You see, you are confusing two issues. You're confusing what the SGR was supposed to do, and I have said the way I've said here, it was supposed to go to Naivasha, and Naivasha is supposed to be our industrial city, right?
Haukusema kwamba mtaanzisha kituo katika eneo la Naivasha.
What has happened, let me just answer you.
Yeah.
What has happened is other people took advantage and moved port operations. What we are discussing here is port operations. You know, simple infrastructure things that have nothing to do with the construction of the railway. That's why we are saying we are going to reverse port operations that have been brought to Nairobi largely. You know, CFSs that have been brought to Nairobi, many of the other facilities that have been brought to Nairobi to benefit a few people. We're going to reverse it so that it goes back to Mombasa. That does not mean we are reversing the whole plan of the SGR. Those are two different things. The original plan of SGR was not supposed to shut down the port of Mombasa. It was supposed to elevate activity in the port of Mombasa. How? By making sure that the Dongokundu Special Economic Zone is operational, and by making sure the industrial city in Naivasha that is supposed to produce material and is supposed to produce products that would eventually go back to Mombasa and make the Mombasa port that much more commercial and that much more viable. So there is no conflict between what we are saying in Mombasa and what we are saying in Naivasha.
Lakini kwa video hiyo unasikika vizuri kabisa. Hausemi SGR. Unasema hiki kituo, hii shughuli za bandari kuanzishwa katika eneo la Naivasha, na unanukuliwa kabisa ukisema serikali ya Jubilee itafanya hivyo. Lakini sasa hivi umesema watu wa handshake ndio wamehamisha shughuli za bandari.
Nimekueleza jambo ambalo lilitakikana kufanyika Naivasha sio port operation. Ni industrial city. Sawa?
No.
An industrial city and port operation are two different things, madam. You know, one is activities around a port. The other one is a facility to manufacture, to produce products. And that is what is supposed to happen in Naivasha, and that is what will happen in Naivasha. We're going to have a huge leather industry in Naivasha. We're going to have a big textile city in Naivasha that will not only bring in products using the SGR, but it will also export products out of Naivasha. And let me give you how this is going to happen. At the moment, we are importing 40 billion shillings of yarn and fabric, which we are using for export to AGOA. That needs to happen in Naivasha.
Right.
Our own cotton, our own ginneries, and then the production of yarn and the production of fabric should happen in the industrial city in Naivasha. That's what, amongst the things we should do. If you read our manifesto carefully, we have said the leather industry, which at the moment is a 15 billion shilling industry, is actually supposed to be scaled up to 120 billion shilling industry, just by making sure or making use of the leather we already have. We're not importing leather. All our leather, all our skins, all our hides, every farmer, we were in Kajiado, we were in Wajir, all the farmers told us, please, we are throwing away our skins and hides. Dogs are eating our skins and hide. In fact, sometimes we are forced to bury skins and hide. And yet, we are importing shoes. No. We are importing leather products.
Right.
This is leather we already have in the country. All we need to do is to have the infrastructure, the thinking, the plan. And that is why If you look at our manifesto, it is both a vision and it's also a plan. That's why many people are saying it is too detailed.
All right. Let's cross over now to healthcare, important, affecting Kenyans around the country. And we have with us tonight Dr. Kelvin Rotich. He is the chairman of KMPDU Rift Valley chapter. He's going to be talking about the NHIF collections as prescribed in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Sir, briefly your question. Please be upstanding.
Asante sana. Yangu, wacha niongee Kiswahili. Yangu ni kuulizia kuhusu collections ya NHIF. Umesema kwa manifesto kwamba